Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Boss Teacher Live. Today is the final day in our anniversary week celebration, and we are about to get started. So, if you're watching right now, I want you to jump into the chat and let us know exactly where you are watching from. That's one. And two, I need you to click the link that is at the top of your browser if you're watching on your computer. And if you're watching your phone, just hit that little share icon and send this live to somebody in your WhatsApp, in your Facebook, send them a DM on Instagram, tweet it out on Twitter, send somebody an email, but just go ahead and share. Because I know a lot of you have been showing up every single night and you know the value of these sessions. So don't keep it to yourself. Do not keep it to yourself. Please go ahead and share. So I'm going to give you 2 more minutes to share as much as you can and invite your teacher friends to come on, because we're going to be dropping some knowledge bombs tonight and you don't want to miss it. All right. So go ahead, share the live, and then invite a few people over, and then jump right into the chat and let us know where you are watching from tonight. We get started in just about 70 seconds. All right, in 30 seconds, and we are going live, guys. All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome officially to another Boss Teacher Live. Now, if you have missed any one of the sessions that we've had in this series over the past 4 days, because today is day 5, I'm going to be leaving a link to all of them. There's a playlist on the channel that you can watch. Trust me, you do not want to miss any of the notes that were shared from our guests in this series of lives. And tonight, I can guarantee you it's going to be no different. Tonight, I have a very special friend of mine, and I call her friend because it's really true. She's my friend. Now, Sally Ann Gray, we met 2 years ago exactly, December 1, 2018. I cannot forget that date. And this is the date I attended a speaker training session that she hosted. She was training, where she is still training emerging speakers to become professional speakers. And I was a part of the first cohort of students. And that relationship just blossomed into something more. And I cannot get even more excited about having her on, because she has been such a big part of my growth and development over the last 2 years as boss teacher. So I'm really elated to have Sally Ann on. And I know her, so I know tonight is going to be amazing. So grab a piece of paper if you haven't yet, get your pencil and your pen or your pen and start taking notes because you're in class, you're officially in class, okay? When we're done here tonight, you're gonna feel like you should have paid for this session. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So welcome, Sally.
Thank you so much, Julia, for having me. And guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm just so excited to be spending this time with you because teaching is a passion of mine. And I'm even more so passionate about teachers, about our well-being, about our mindset, about everything that happens with teachers. I am passionate about it. And so I cannot wait to share some strategies with you guys tonight.
Okay, so Sally, since we met on 2 years ago, right? Like yes, so much has changed. There has been a lot of growth, a lot of transitions, a lot of pivoting. Take us through that journey of the last 2 years in business and tell us about the changes and some of the things that you are now pursuing as the global speaker.
Okay, so I started my business 2 years ago. Actually, Julia is celebrating 2 years, and come December 5th, actually, it's really December 5th when we had the training, I believe it was. And so it's 2 years now. And from that day to now, there's been so much growth and transitioning in the company where, yes, I'm kind of tired of hearing the word pivot, but I prefer now to use the term relevant, that you have to remain relevant to your audience. And you have, as a business owner, to look at what your product offerings are and ensure that you're growing with your community so that you can remain relevant to them and serve their needs. And so what I've recognized mostly about business is that business is about relationships, right? It's about your ability to build relationships, solid relationships with the people you serve. And one of the things that I have had to do since the beginning until now is create an avatar for my ideal audience, for the ideal trainee, the ideal person who would sit in any one of my courses. What do they look like? Who are they? What level of education they have, so that I can ensure that when I'm putting things out, I'm speaking directly to that person. And so you'll find that as you transition in business as a teacher, or as you decide to start a small business on the side while you remain in teaching, because guys, let me tell you from tonight, full-time entrepreneurship is not for everybody. Don't follow people. Don't run enough up yourself and take it up if you don't feel like you're led. There's a thing in life named dead for hungry. Dead for hungry. If you're not Jamaican and you're on this live, it means that you will starve. You will literally recognize gaps in your ability to provide for yourself if this is not something that you're called to. And so I am speaking to two specific persons tonight. The person who wants to transition and the person who knows that they're not called to transition, but they want to earn. One of the things that you'll have to recognize in business and as you grow and as you remain relevant is to ensure that you're building relationships and keeping up with what your clients are asking for and their wants and needs, and speaking to their pain points and ensuring that those needs are being met. So to answer that question, I would say that that's one of the biggest things that I've had to learn in business over the past 2 years, and relevance is the word that has really been resonating with me since COVID, that I have had to ensure that I'm doing that. And teachers, you know this, right? We have to remain relevant to even our classroom students. If we're teaching something and it not really cut the dash with them, the methodology that we're using, we have to use a relevant methodology so that they can get the concept. So yeah, I would say that's what I've had to focus on.
I love that you brought up the concept about the avatar. You're having that ideal audience and speaking directly to them. Because what I've been seeing is that persons are coming online, persons are trying to figure out, okay, how do I now make money in this online space since we're in the middle of a pandemic and everybody's online, and they're just trying to sell something. Like they literally have something that they're just trying to sell, and they're not selling to anybody because they're trying to sell to everybody. Why is it so important to have that avatar that you are specifically selling to?
Well, you know, first of all, it helps you to narrow in terms of the products and services that you'll offer to them. Because if you know who you're targeting, then you can quickly research what it is that they want. You can look into their pain points, and you can ensure that you're providing a product or a service that will meet their set of needs. And so sometimes we feel as though we know who we're talking to, and then we're not clear, because it comes out in our marketing, it comes out in whether or not people are purchasing from us, because then now we have to look at, is my messaging appropriate? And so when you start to peel back the layers, now you recognize, oh, I missed this little part of the avatar, you know. And then the thing is, avatars are important. Understanding who your ideal audience is important, because then you can narrow how you market, where you market, and all of that, so nobody can purchase from you if they don't know you exist. But again, everybody doesn't want to know that you exist, because everybody doesn't care about your products and services, and that's just the truth. And so when you're a small business owner, as many teachers are, you learn do it yourself. You learn the do it yourself strategy until you're able to get a team of persons. You will have to learn how to market, and you want to make sure that you're marketing to the right persons, so that you're not wasting your time and mismanaging your time by trying to reach an audience that's not for you.
Exactly. And it is important. That avatar, I say this all the time because I teach this as part of my mentorship program, and I tell them, listen, you cannot try and sell to everybody. Think of one specific person that you want to sell to, and sell to that one specific person. And everybody else who fits that profile of that one specific person will also find you. Absolutely. Right? And that is how you really get people to know you, to like you, and trust you enough to spend their hard-earned money with you. So when you're coming online, when you're selling anything as a side hustle, don't try and just sell. Find who your people are, find where they hang out, and sell to them and them only. Because the rest of the world don't care about you. They don't. They really don't. They really don't.
It's funny that you share that, Julian, and I agree. But I wanted to point out one thing too, that as teachers, it is important for us to recognize that we're educators and remain true to our core. But also, so we don't want to be all over the place, right? So you mentioned trying a thing. We don't want to try a thing. We want to get clear about our vision and our mission on the planet, so that we can now align a business structure with that, because business gets hard. And there are times when you're going to be like, me can't bother with this. Big up yourself, I'm going back. Me'll just work with the one ministry check for me and get. Me can't take the stress. And in those times, you will have to tie your business structure to the vision. You're going to have to find the vision and the mission and check it out again and say, what did I really sign up for? What was I seeking to accomplish? Because this is my purpose on the planet, but we remain true to our core. So, you don't want to be all over the place, tight into your core. And a good friend of mine said this recently. I heard him, he said, which we know the Bible says, your gift makes room for you, right? But then your education refines your gift. And so as teachers, we know that we have this gift and this skill of teaching, and we know that formal education refined it. So what the concept of boss teacher is, and I'm speaking for Julia here, is helping you to refine that skill set and look beyond that into the purpose of your gifting, so that you can merge them, create a focus, have a vision and a mission, and push with that into business.
Absolutely. As I think about what you say, because many people come and they say, okay, what can I do online? And I give them ideas. But at the end of the day, and this is something that is a part of my value system in business. I don't want to work with anybody who just wants to make a quick buck, who wants to just do something just to make money. I am all about aligning purpose with business. And as you rightfully say, if your heart is not in it, if it's not a part of your purpose, you're going to drop it in 2 months, in 3 months, and then in a year time, and then you literally just wasted a whole year of your life. But what you're doing in business is completely aligned with your purpose, then you're going to be in it for the long haul, and you're going to stick to it until it becomes profitable, productive, and impactful. So it is always best to, whatever side hustle you decide to start, stay true to who you are, whether it be a teacher or wherever else your purpose takes you. So let's talk about purpose, because you are the queen of purpose, right? How did you discover this talent of speaking? Because we want to help some people unearth some things tonight. How did you discover? See if we can give others some ideas.
So okay, guys, a little bit about me and my journey. I was the out of control kid in high school. I'm adopted. When I found out, I acted out. Teachers used to kick me out of the classroom. I went from psychologist to psychologist, was eventually diagnosed with ADHD and dubbed an out of control teenager. And then I was eventually kicked out of high school. So one of the things that was very important to me was to go to teachers college and become a special ed teacher, so I could learn how to help children who were considered out of control and wayward. I wanted to teach myself. Right? I wanted to be that teacher for the Sally in the classroom. And so I recognize now that when, after going to college and getting certified as a special ed teacher, whether I was teaching in Jamaica or in the US, because I've taught internationally, I recognize that students would resonate with my story. So I started to share with them my story. I recognized that how I could calm down my special needs class, because I had a lot of children with emotional disabilities and all sorts of things. How I would get them calm, I would tell them my story. I would share some stories with them about when I was growing up, when I was in high school. I would tell them, I said, let me tell you, young girl, you think you want down the road? You can't down the road, because me already done it for you. So come make us organize up yourself. And I would, and them look at me and them drop them mouth and them say, what is this we are talking about? Them times I was with sellers. And I recognized that I had an ability, a natural ability to connect with people through sharing stories. Fast forward now to 3 years ago, 2017, when I decided I was going to share my story in a book. I had recently accepted Christ as my savior, started my Christian journey, even though I was raised in church, but as an adult, really owning it for myself. And I felt that the Lord was saying it was time for me to share my story in a book. So when I shared the story in a book, and then I started to tell the story to promote the book, I recognized that every single time I spoke, I would have no less than about 5 to 10 persons coming up to me saying, Sally, oh my goodness, this story touched me. How can you teach me how to share my story the way you have shared yours on that stage? And so after a while, when the entrepreneurial mindset was, being developed and cultivated within me, I recognized here is a need that needs to be filled, and people are coming to me to fill it. So hello, I'm not going to itch, right? So I said, okay, all right. And I spoke to my husband about it, and he said, babe, well, guess what? This is how you connect with people. I was still in my core because it's educating others, may not be the traditional classroom. I was still in my core because for years I had written curriculum for the Jamaican government as a curriculum designer with Heart Trust NTA. So I had to now go and create my own curriculum for my course. So I said, if I can write curriculum for the government and be on a regular salary, I certainly can write a curriculum for my own course, for my own business and my own company. So I stuck true to the skills that I had learned. And then for over the course of my teaching career, I was head of department on 3 separate occasions, right? In 3 different schools. And so I said, but I used to head up the special ed department, why I can't head my own department in my company. So I decided, listen, I am going to transfer these skills into my own business, and I'm going to show up for myself just as how I showed up for the Ministry of Education. I'm going to show up for myself just as how I showed up for the government of Jamaica. I'm going to show up for myself and my business just as how I showed up for those parents of those children. I'm going to show up for global speakers like I would have showed up in that classroom every single day. And that commitment and determination is what I entered my business with. And I said, listen, if I can work so hard to create a legacy for other persons, I must can work hard to create a legacy for my two children so that they can look back and say, you know what? My mother stepped out in purpose. My mother decided that she was going to do that which she was called to do. It was clear that it was a calling on my life, and I don't want to just be somebody who talks about purpose, right? Blessed are the doers, okay? So we don't just want to know a thing, we want to execute on it. And so as we talk about purpose, I would say, look for the things that are easy for you. Do the things that you're passionate about. Pay attention to the skills that people talk to you about, not so much about how you view yourself. And I always tell people, your personal brand is not so much about how you view yourself, it's how your audience views you. And your audience right now, if you're not a business owner, if you're not popular, your audience is your husband, your wife, your children, your cousin, your sister, your brother, your friends, right? They are your audience right now, and they can look outside and see what you're good at. So ask them, when my name comes to mind, what are the top 5 things that comes to you that resonates about me, right? And then start to think about what it is that you're passionate about and pray. I'm a woman of God, pray to God. Say, God, right about now in my life, me need a breakthrough. Frankly, God, Holy Spirit, may I really ask you for a sign? I can't take the sign language this trip. So I'm asking you if you could please send a word through somebody. I need a sign because I need to start, and I need to start tomorrow. So God, may I ask you please, no sign language this time. And he will show you, because the word says, ask, seek, knock. All of those are action words. So you have to ask. You have to seek, you have to knock, and purpose will come. It is already there. From the minute you were born, your purpose has already been finished, right? And the word of God says the end of a thing is greater than the beginning. So from the moment you were born, I guarantee you that your purpose was already established. So it's not about finding a purpose. Really and truly, it's uncovering the purpose that has already been planted in you, all right? And those are some tips that I can just share off the top of my head to help you.
That's solid. That's solid, Sally. And if you want to learn more about purpose, there is a book that I know of called Planted in Purpose. That is written by a particular author who is right here.
That would be me.
Yes. So yes, Sally Ann has a book called Planted in Purpose. And if you really need some help in uncovering what it is that you're supposed to be walking in, your giftings, your talents, you definitely need to read that book. It is inspirational, and it is also very, very practical. One of the things that you mentioned just now that I don't think a lot of people do, and I remember you doing it to me last year, and I was like, yeah, this is a thing. And you said, ask a few people around you, what is it that you think I am best at?
Yes.
What do you think I'm best at? And you would be surprised at some of the answers, and some of them might not even surprise you. But you see, what others think of you, as she rightfully say, is your brand. And those are some of the things that you can literally take and turn it into a business. And since you are known for that, it is already a part of your core, and it could very well be aligned with your purpose. So that is one activity that you can do. Even tonight, pull out your phone, send a WhatsApp message to your mother, to your closest cousin and your closest sister, your closest friend, and just ask them.
Yes.
Ask them and take their answers very, very seriously. Tell them it's not a joke thing, it's a serious thing. You're trying to figure out your life.
Yes.
Yeah. And
And
you
then
also,
also, Julia, before you move on, sorry, guys, think about the one thing you would do if nobody was gonna pay your salary. If you weren't gonna be paid, guys, let me tell you something. Helping people to create their story, writing curriculum, packaging things, teaching people. Honestly, I would do that even if I wasn't gonna be paid. And it's the truth. So anytime you find what you would do without a salary, you know that you're onto something.
yeah, and that's very important, you know, because and I wouldn't even say the flip side, but another angle to look at it is if you can work at something that you're not being paid for and still get up and go after it, then definitely you're going to be successful. Because the truth is, and this is where some people just don't do it anymore. The truth is, you are going to be getting up and working at this thing and not getting paid. Because with entrepreneurship, your salary is never secure. You have to go out there and get it. So
Yes.
there are gonna be days when you're gonna be working and busting your head and doing stuff, and you're not seeing anybody. Nobody's buying your products. Nobody's buying your services. Will you still have the tenacity to continue to do it?
Yeah.
Right? And that is why it is very important that whatever you pursue must align with your purpose and your God-given gifts. Because any day the money is not enough, any day you don't see how you're going to pay the bills, and you still get up and do it, you know you're onto a good thing. So that's very, very, very important. Now, another question I want to ask you, Sally, because I know a lot of people struggle with, a lot of teachers in general struggle with confidence and really getting up and deciding, okay, I want to do this, but I'm scared. Like I hear that all the time. I'm scared. I'm afraid. They're afraid to go on camera. They're afraid to start the business because they're afraid of just business in general. And one of the things I know for a fact that scares a lot of individuals is the fact that they're not trained in business. And so managing a business feels intimidating. What are some of the things that you were able to do or implement to overcome that, if you had to go through it, or any recommendations?
Well, for starters, guys, I would start with this mindset. Am I more afraid of stepping out into the unknown, or am I more afraid of being broke 10 years from now, still collecting the same salary? Because if I'm looking at being able to create a legacy for my children, and I'm a teacher, and I'm looking at my salary, and I'm looking at my bank account, and I have to be nipping and tucking every single month trying to upscotch around the money to see how this is going to work, I am thinking to myself that is sufficient enough for me to say, I'm afraid, but I have to try something right about now, because this reality is no longer aligning with me. I'm no longer feeling good about the fact that I went to college for so many years and I'm sowing seeds into other people's children. In many instances, there are great parents out there, but in many instances, we have parents who deal with us away. Let's just be upfront. And to put up with all of this disrespect from parents, from administrators, from teachers, and then I'm still not able to buy a decent meal at the end of the month. I'm still not able to put my children through college without taking several loans. And when I look at whether or not home purchase is a reality for me. In some instances, if you're a single person as a teacher, it is hard for you to earn enough to be able to qualify for a house. And so, guys, I say all of that to say, when you evaluate your reality, I want to know, which one are you more fearful of? For me, I was in that space, and I was more fearful of just earning the same amount of money for the next 5 years, looking at the inflation rate and saying, but this don't really look like it's gonna work out. And then when I look at my parents are both educators. My mother was a teacher for over 35 years, right? And what my mother gets from her Jamaican pension is, quite frankly, we love the Jamaican government, but it's set away. I'll say that. And so, guys, it is really not something that can even pay my parents' light bill by itself. And so that puts things into perspective. And so what I would offer to teachers as a perspective, as a mindset shift, is, which one are you more afraid of? And let that drive you. That's number one. Two, I'm thinking about when I had to step out, and I thought to myself that there has to be more for me, that I am not going to limit myself because of the limitations that I have placed on myself. So I decided that I was not going to limit myself. I would no longer limit myself due to the limitations that I had placed on myself. And guys, I want you to understand as a mindset shift that nobody is holding onto you. There are no chains on you, that you're free. Sometimes we accept that this is our reality. And what I'm here to encourage you tonight as a teacher, as a fellow educator, that you don't just have to take what you get. You can actually decide to step out and to try something new. And let me tell you something, teachers, what is the worst that can happen? You're not gonna leave your teaching job until you're consistently earning an income that replaces what you have now anyway. So what do you have to lose? You have your summers free, you have your Christmas free, you have every holiday free. What do I have to lose? I'm going to take a chance on me. And that was a mindset that I entered with, and I decided, listen, I'm not going to hold myself back anymore. And a lot of times we say it's with friend bad mind and them bad mind. And sometimes it's not nobody bad mind. It's just you need to make a decision that I'm going to move. And may I add this, and this is not just for teachers. Many times we suffer from the paralysis of analysis, where we are there trying to plan out and strategize, and we nip and we talk, and we have to turn the plan upside down. And for some of the guys, I know, because we're teachers, when we have to say about this a lesson plan, you know, balance out, but this a plan, you know, look good. All right, what is my objectives now? All right, this step and that. Guys, no. Business does not work like that. So I have come to recognize that once you have a mission and a vision, and you even have one goal, push with that. Do your little research, do so. I'm all about getting wise counsel. Ask 1 and 2 people, do a little sketch, can out a little thing. Go, I'm all about that. Not telling you to jump off and just start something like that. But there comes a point where you're going to have to accept, say, you know what, I don't know how this thing turn out, but I'm going to just jump out. Yeah? I'm going to just go with what I have. I'm going to start where I am with what I have, comes what may, and I have nothing to lose because I still have my teacher salary. I'm going to take a chance and see how this works, right? And that is basically the mindset that you have to enter this thing with. You just have to take the plunge.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought up the whole concept of just, having that one goal and going for it. Because I think for culturally, traditionally, we have our mindset on writing a business plan, because that's what we're taught. That's what the business world projects. And in this new era, really and truly, traditional businesses are not necessarily go-to for most people. Not everybody is sitting down trying to get investors and putting a business plan together. So if you're not into that kind of business, don't worry about having a business plan with an executive summary and directors this and that. No.
Julia, let me tell you something. And teachers, right now, the way how the marketplace is volatile, by the time you don't spend 6 months to type up your business plan, somebody launch out with the same idea that you had and start earn from it long time. And guess what? They've already now 6 months in established themselves as an expert in that area. And you're gonna feel away, about one come out to the business, and then you're gonna start, say, wait too long. So right now, I'm an advocate of God lays something on your heart, you pray about it, talk to some wise counsel. If you're a believer, and you understand the concept of spiritual parents, do what you do, get a little research, get going. Create a flyer, put it in the public domain. And one of the things, guys, if you're looking for a tip, how do I just start? Let me tell you something. Commit to a goal and put it in the public domain. Just create an IG page and post it. Tell a friend that in the next 2 months, I must sell X amount of this product that I'm going to create. Once you put that into the public domain, you almost literally have to follow through. And so you just have to start. The leapfrog theory. I'm the one and I'm going to start. That's it.
You talk about wise counsel. So we're gonna touch on mentorship for a while, because I remember like many years ago when the entrepreneurship bug bit me. This was about in 2012. And you hear people talking about getting mentors. And it was a difficult thing for me because I used to try and seek out these well-known people, these wealthy people, and these people wouldn't want to have a connection with me. And I'm like, but I don't have a mentor. I can't do this thing. And over the years, I've realized that mentorship is a different thing from what I thought it to be. Like, you don't necessarily need to go to the Azan or, some of the top names in business and have them on speed dial to have a mentor. So let us break that down, because I don't know if anybody has that same concept of mentorship.
I
Mentorship
did.
is so
I
much,
did.
yeah.
I always thought it had to be a big person with a big title, with a big name. And
Yeah.
so that mindset had to change for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I recognized that mentorship was anybody who was wise, who could show a track record of success in a particular area, be it they were prominent and popular or not. And once they could show a track record in a particular area of expertise that I was interested in, and I could have access to them just to bounce something off of them, then that was mentorship. And so, guys, dispel the thought and the idea that the person has to be popular for you to benefit from having conversations with them. And one of the things that I learned about mentorship, guys, truly, this is a recent lesson, I would say, in the last 2 years, is that you need to have mentors for different things. And so maybe the woman who I would say is my marriage mentor, I would not necessarily go to her for business advice, because she's great in her marriage, but then she is not a business owner. So I can seek mentorship from her as a wife, as a younger wife, seeking to be mentored by a woman who has been married, successfully married to her one husband for 30 years, and I see the dynamics of their relationship working well. I want to hear from her about marriage. Okay, then there's somebody else for business. Then there is somebody for finances, because the person who runs a business and is successful in a business will speak to you about finances, but then you have other persons who are experts in financial planning for a business. So maybe that person who ran a successful business was not the person who necessarily was responsible for the bookkeeping aspect of the business, which I'm thinking if they're a good mentor in business, they would tell you, get someone who can advise you on the finances and get an accountant and all of that. And so, guys, those are just some little examples of the fact that I recognize that you don't have a one mentor does it kind of a thing, because there's no one person who is an expert in everything on the planet. And so it's important for you to identify the areas in your life where you fall short, because you're not doing badly at everything. There are some areas that you're okay in. All right. And so identify the areas that you want to work on and find a mentor who is excelling in that particular area, and try to make a connection with them. One of the things that I've recognized about mentors now, all right, so everybody wants to be mentored, but the mentor, it sometimes they are taken aback when a complete stranger reaches out to them and says, can you mentor me? Because the notion is that you don't know who I am as a person. So, I mean, you just want me to mentor yourself. So I think sometimes it's good for us to start with persons who we already have a relationship with. And if it's someone outside of our circle, try to find someone who you're at least an acquaintance with, and ask them if they would be willing to reach out to that person on your behalf. I've recognized that it is very important to get connected with people through people that they already know. Because if my aunt can call, if I can call someone on Julia's behalf and say, listen, she's one of my mentees and she good for it. The person who I'm speaking to already, 50% of their resistance is dropped, because them going to say, Sal, I trust you. If you say the person good, cool, no problem. And so those are one of the things, some of the things that you can think about and offer to do something for your mentor. I recognize that you have this business. I recognize that you have this initiative. How can I come and help and serve you? Don't always just want to take from them. Look at ways that you can serve them. It's a partnership, right? And no friendship or relationship on the planet can work when you are seeking to always take from someone. So the concept of mentorship means that you should be looking at ways of how you can serve that person while they're serving you. So.
Absolutely. I told you guys that you needed to take out your book and your pen, right? I did mention it earlier. Okay, I hope you've been taking notes. All right, so I want you at this time to just share your questions and your comments in the chat right here for Sally. So I'm just going to type that in, Question. But I'm going to ask you a question in the meantime as we wait on those responses to come in, Salian. We're still on the topic of mentorship. So you talk about finding a mentor through somebody you know, somebody you already know, right? Where are some other places that people can go to find somebody to mentor them?
Okay, so one of the obvious places, because I'm a woman of God, there's church, depending on what you're looking for. Okay, guys, social and corporate mingles are a great place. Now that we're not going out so much, different types of entrepreneurial groups. You're looking to launch out into a business, find an entrepreneurial group through Facebook, private Facebook groups. You can start watching podcasts. You can join some type of fraternity, join associations. You want to become a part of Rotary, Kiwanis, or any of these service organizations are great places to meet persons who are already thriving and doing the thing, whatever you consider doing the thing is. And there's them there, right? So look for service organizations. I can tell you that most men and women who are at the top of their game, right, have gotten to a place where they're in their philanthropic phase of life, where they already have them big house, them big car, them big business. They've already done their corporate. They've paid their dues to society. Their kids are grown and off to college, and they're in a phase, that Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the self-actualization. They're in the space where they now want to give back, and they will trust you if you are a part of their organization. So associations are great. Private Facebook groups, listening to podcasts and following the persons who have spoken on the podcast. So let's say, for example, you're impressed by somebody's story. You can reach out to them via email and say, I listened to your interview on podcast X, Y, and Z on this date. I was struck by what you said when you spoke about this, and that. I would love to have an opportunity to possibly be mentored by you, or just to have a conversation, because I'm very impressed by your journey. And so now, even if you don't know anybody who knows this person, you have an inroad, and they will stop and read that email because at least you were doing something that had something to do with them. And so these are ways that you can connect with different persons, and go to events, guys. Join events. Now we're online. Join these live events. Listen to the speakers. There are lots of ways that you can try to connect with other persons, but corporate mingles, service organizations, church, I would say, are great places to start. And also your place of employment. Look for the leaders in your place of employment who are doing well, who are, we're teachers, right? So you must have an HOD or an assistant principal or the current principal or somebody, the board, the chairman of the board. You're a teacher there. They're not going to turn you down. All right. They're not going to turn you down. So look for persons in those types of capacities. Usually on the board of directors for any school, you find somebody who is in finance because they have to look at the budget. So you're going to find somebody who has a finance background. All right. You're going to find somebody who has a business background. You're going to find somebody who is a serviceman or woman, philanthropic background. You're going to find persons from different backgrounds. And so as a teacher, honestly, if you feel like you know have no resources, you know nobody, you know no Facebook group, you know get invited to nothing, in a podcast, I'm giving you a starting point. Check out the members of the board at the school that you teach at, or the schools in your area. Look at who is on the board of directors for those schools, and I guarantee you, they're not going to turn you back. If you are pouring into the children at that school, you will get a meeting with one of them, and that is a great starting place.
And I want to add one final thing to it, because I don't want to think that you have to be mentored by somebody you know or know you. I have been mentored by some of the greatest minds of the world through a book.
Yes, a book.
Michelle Obama is my mentor. And her husband just came out with a book. He's officially my mentor as well.
Thank you for that, Jules. I forgot that one. Absolutely. Absolutely. You can go on these persons' websites. You can listen to their podcast. You can read their book. You can read articles about them. Research what is important to them, the work that they've done, and see what moves they have made. So thank you for that, Julia. Very powerful point.
Absolutely. All right, guys, I see some questions coming in, so I'm going to be sliding into the chat right now. As I said, slide, something just popped into my brain. Sally Ann talked earlier about emailing individuals with about, whether you've seen them on a podcast and so on. Don't be afraid in the era of social media to slide into people's DMs on LinkedIn, on Instagram, in Facebook. It works. It works. And people are more accepting of things like that these days because of the times that we are living in. Just don't do it in
don't
any
just make a point and don't go be like hi or hello. Just say what you said. Good. So and so, I saw your interview. I would love an opportunity to speak to you about so and so. So from they read it, they know where you're going and what you're about. They don't have to be wondering if this is some psycho kind of person, the hey, hi, back and forth kind of a style. Get to the point.
Exactly. You see some DMs coming in, hi, and that's it. Like, what? Why are you wasting my time here? All right. So, Lord have mercy, guys. They are blowing up the chat. All right. So,
what am I say? Tell me. What am I say?
So Melissa is in, and Anya. Hey, shout out to Anya. Chevrolet, Sarah. Who else is in the chat? Skeeter. Who else am I seeing? Patricia, and a couple more people are watching, but they're not in the chat at all. Listen, jump into the chat. That's where all the excitement is. I'm gonna scroll down to see if I can find the first question or comment. Skeeta is saying that she has her book because she's in class. I told you. Take out the book. You need take notes. Anya is also saying that she's trying to figure out her life, and we are going to get that for that question. Okay, what do you think she is good at? And she's awaiting her answers. Text us.
Okay, so go ahead and answer.
Yeah, go ahead.
Was that a question or a comment? What she said about the book?
No. All right, two different things. Now, Skeeta was saying that she has her book. Remember, I told them to take out their books and their pencils earlier.
Oh, cool. All right, good to go.
Right. and Anya is saying she's going to be asking us that question about the 5 things that we think she's good at. So I guess we're going to be looking out for that, Anya.
Okay, cool. All right, great.
All right, so Sarah is saying that the one thing that she's taking from tonight is that she's telling, when you said, God, me no want a sign language thing, you want it. Oh, yes, Sarah. Sometimes you have to get militant.
You ever actually assign it and it's like, you have to say, then God, I never ask if you assign it.
I've had a very recent experience. I know. All right, so here's a question. can you speak more towards the full-time entrepreneur versus the calling part-time? What do you mean calling part-time? Like you have a calling to work part-time? If we're just starting and self-doubting, how to discover? Can you interpret that?
Let me try. So I think the person is possibly asking about if you're struggling with self-doubt and you're wondering if you should try part-time before transitioning full-time. And guys, I don't know about Julia. I'll let Julia talk for herself. But as for me and my household, I am not going to leave my full-time salary without having started the business and gotten it to a place where it is at least replacing my monthly income. So you're gonna have to start on the side, unless of course you have a rich husband who has told you, honey, it is perfectly fine for you to just go and do your thing, big up yourself. If that's not your reality, I would largely recommend and I don't know, maybe there's a male teacher on here, and unless you have a very rich wife who taking care of you, I don't recommend that you do that. I think the wise thing to do, not what we feel like doing, the wise thing to do is to transition gradually by starting the business. First month, you can set a goal that I'm going to create a name, my vision, and my mission statement, and I'm going to register the business. Those are things that you can do. I'm going to come up with a name, a vision. I'm going to write a vision and a mission. I'm going to put it up on my wall, and I'm going to take a day off from work, and a registrar of companies is going to find my name. If you're overseas, whatever the business registration process is, go and get your LLC up and going. You can do that. That is something that you can have done before the end of the year. Okay, guys, we're about actionable steps.
Yeah.
So that is something you can start. Then once you do that, you now start to look at your avatar as we had discussed and say, okay, this is my service or this is my product that I'm putting in the public domain. Who is my unique client? What does my unique customer look like? All right. You create your product and you create your platforms, your social media platforms, and you start selling to them. Instagram is free. Facebook is free. You don't have to have a website. Websites these days are nice to have. You need to have a landing page eventually. But guys, let us start where we are with what we have. Let me tell you something about confidence. Confidence is not something that you're going to get overnight. Competence in an area feeds your confidence.
Right.
And so if you start, over time, you will develop your competence to do what you're doing, and that will lead to increased confidence. Stop waiting for a big pile of confidence to drop on your bluff. It's not coming. All right? I'm still apprehensive about, I'm still having anxiety about some new things that I'm doing right now. Right now, as a matter of fact, I have a big announcement that I'm going to drop on December 1, so make sure you go follow Sally Ann Speaks, right? And I'm still concerned about, is this something that I should do? But I decide, say, I don't have to be confident. I just need to try and get competent, and that will only come with time. So I hope that has at least started to answer that question, or what we thought it was asking us.
All right. I see a few more comments coming up. I wanted to add, what was I gonna add to that again? G's on P's. It slipped me. Oh yeah. You mentioned having what's the word you use? Basically having enough money in your side hustle or your business before you quit your full-time job. And that I 100% agree with that, because sometimes a lot of persons think that they can just jump out cold turkey and they're going to make enough money next week or next month. And just give it 3 months, man. By 3 months time, I should be making a lot of money. It may never happen until 6, 10, a year. Okay? And you have to have that cushion. You really have to have that cushion. One of the things that I did it very differently. I didn't have a salary cushion, but here's how my wise brain kicked in. About 3 years before, I started investing in the stock market. And so when it was time for me to really hand in my resignation letter and say, you know what, this is my last month. Y'all will not see me at the beginning of the next school year. I didn't have a salary. I really didn't. I didn't have a business, but I still had something that I was able to use as a cushion to survive the next couple months until my business start making money. So whether it be the rich husband or the stock market, or you're really building up that salary through your side hustle, always have that cushion, but at least have a plan for it.
Absolutely.
All right, so I'm going to be jumping into the questions right now, but before I answer the rest of them, I want you guys, I'm putting a link, oh my goodness, a link inside of the YouTube chat. And if you're watching the replay, it's going to be in the description of the video. And this is a link to a course that Sally Ann has been teaching. It's called Become a Professional Speaker. Talk to that for a minute, Sally, before I jump in and answer the rest of the question.
Okay, so what I've recognized, Julia, some people genuinely just want to go into motivation and inspiration, and some people don't. But what I've definitely recognized about entrepreneurship and building a business is nobody can purchase from you if they don't know you or your product exists, right? So if they're not able to find you, then you will not earn. And so one of the things that I've recognized is that once you're in business, you're gonna have to get good at communicating your thoughts and your ideas with people, with potential investors, with your clients, right? And once you grow in business, you'll increasingly see invitations to come and speak on various platforms. And so how you're going to share with people, if you come across as someone who is not articulate enough to share, people are going to say, but I don't know if me want really to buy nothing from that person, because them not sound sensible. And so you would have lost your potential client or customer. And so Become a Professional Speaker is not just targeting motivational or inspirational speakers. It's targeting business owners. It's targeting persons who want to be known as an expert in their area. And we talk a lot about how you can establish your speaking business as an additional stream of income, because guess what? Once you get into entrepreneurship, you will have to speak. And if you're going to use this skill of speaking, you may as well earn from it to generate additional stream of incomes. And I want to say this, teachers, never, I mean, wealth creation 101, have multiple streams. If Corona has not taught us anything else, people are pivot out the whole of them life. You know why you can pivot? Because you have different things going on. You don't want to only have one thing going on or one income generating course or idea or item within your business. You don't want to have one thing that you're relying on. So when times turn and this service is not popular or it's not relevant in the marketplace in that season, then guess what? You can now shift to another stream, all being relevant, remaining true to your core and your purpose, though not all over the place. Like today I have a restaurant and tomorrow you sell bicycle. No, but at least within your things. So I speak, I'm an educational consultant, I write curriculum, I stick to my core. So I keep my things within education, within speaking, within purpose, that kind of a thing, right? But within all of that, I have my books that I can sell. If nobody now buy books, then I can earn from a speaking engagement. If nobody now the speaking engagement, I can lean into global speakers and say, okay, what products and services we have, right? So if that now go on, then I can offer my corporate services as a trainer or as an educational consultant. At some point in time, one of them pot them must have bubble, something off a bubble, right? And so we want to just make sure that we have multiple streams.
And let them know that speaking pays well here.
Yes. And speaking pays absolutely well. So I would just, especially recommend that you guys, take that seriously, even if it's something that you had not considered before.
If you've watched my progress as a speaker over the past 2 years, I talk about Sally Ann all the time. She is my speaker trainer. She is my coach. She is the reason I am able to stand and say I am officially an international keynote speaker. I'm boasting with it.
Why you said no attitude back at that?
Cute. Because she taught me everything I know, like everything that I have been able to express and how I'm able to get speaking engagement. All of that is because of what I learned from her. So I recommend her program like 528%. You understand?
That's a lot. Thank you, Julia. And to God be every single glory, you know? Absolutely.
All right, so here's another question from the chat. How do you balance all that happens in the teaching world with a side hustle before you leave the full-time job?
Well, this is where our planning skills have to get, we'll have to get creative, guys. You know, the truth is, you know, while I was in the classroom, I was married. I'm a mother of 2 small children, and you know, I left formal classroom teaching in 2017. So I had my husband dinner to cook. I had the kids them, you know, homework to do. I had to do my lesson planning, not only regular lesson planning. I had to be writing IEPs. I had to do all of that, and I had to block my time. So there would be times in my household where no phone don't touch, because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pre-plan all of my activities from the weekend. I plan out my thing. I have my things to do list. I know when I'm going to cook, when I'm going to church, when I'm dealing with the kids, when I'm gonna double down now and say, listen, I have to find 2 hours in my schedule to focus on this business. 1 hour I'm in that planning time for the business, I'm gonna do this, and the other hour I'm gonna do that. And guess what? This phone is nowhere to be found during that time, because I don't have time to get sidetracked by all of the busyness. If I said that this 2 hours is for my business, it is. Guys, right now, I want to encourage you to know that all of us have the same 24 hours, and you're not going to find a big block of time just drop down from your blue out of sky. So you're going to have to use the time that has been given and say, you know what? All I have is 30 minutes. Start with that. You know, say you can create a vision statement in 30 minutes. If you don't have no distractions, you can create one that you can start with. It may not be the one that you finish with, but you can start with something. You can do some research in 30 minutes for your business. So I would say block your time and start where you're at. If early mornings before your household work, wake up don't work for you and you're not a morning person, do it at night. But you have to block some time. And I would say it's important to identify where we have support in our personal life and ask for the help. Mommy, daddy, brother, cousin, sister, puss, helper if you can afford it. Listen, I'm launching a new business and I really need some time, and I would really appreciate if you support me. I can't pay you, you know, grandma. I can't get a thing, you know, auntie. But honestly, really and truly, this is like you sowing a seed into the next season of my life. May I beg you watch the kids, right? I just have some things to tie up. And you do what you have to do until you can do what you want to do. We just have to make it work.
And on Wednesday, we had a very lengthy discussion with Shakira, because Shakira is a productivity coach. So I'm going to encourage you to go back and watch the Wednesday replay with Shakira, because we talked a lot about how you can actually find time. And one of the things that she said that I really want to emphasize is that you need to set boundaries, because in this time, I'm finding that a lot of teachers are going to bed at 1, 2, and 3 o'clock in the mornings.
No.
And you cannot treat your body like that. And she emphasized setting boundaries. She says when schoolwork ends at 3 p.m., that is when it ends. And she tries deliberately not to feel guilty about anything that is not done, because she has to take care of her, and she also has to take care of her side business. And she's a full-time teacher, guys, running a considerably full-time, part-time business.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we have to set boundaries, and Shakira is right, you know. I mean, when work ends, it ends. When I'm signing off a Zoom for the purposes of work, that ends. I'm transitioning into my business now, and you have to be selfish about the things that you want to accomplish for yourself. At some point, you have to say, "Look here now, man. Wait, what?" Right?
I agree. I mean, I wish I had learned that lesson 3 years ago. All right, another question here. Can you also share 2 ways to identify your unique customers?
Okay, so you have to. There's something called an avatar where you kind of map out your who, your what, like what is it that that person likes doing? What are their pain points? So I would say to myself, I have a unique audience member. I think they look like me. So who is the person? Is it all female? Am I targeting men and women? So I would say professional men and women between the age of 30 to 45. I think that they're experiencing pain points such as frustration because they're not able to make the pay that they're currently getting stretched to do all the things that they want to do. So you go through and you think to yourself, you know what? I'm creating this product for who? Is it for children? Is it for parents? Is it for fathers? Is it for mothers only? Is it for single women? Is it for, who is it for? Is it for teenagers between the ages of 16 and 19 or teenagers between the ages of 13 and 15, right? So because that's, depending on the age group, you will determine what their pain points are. So have an age in mind, have a look in mind, have a background in mind. It's somebody who came from an affluent background. You can say that there's no shame in anything. It's just who you're talking to. Who do you believe will purchase your products and services, and who are you specifically making this for? And then you go through the different things. And guys, Google is there. Google customer avatar, and you'll see lots of templates come up there where you can ask yourself these questions and answer them honestly. Answer it honestly without any fear of anything. And then when you come up with it, then you will be able to niche down and say, okay, this is it.
Yeah, and I have a 27-point sheet that I go through my students with, and it's a very tedious activity. I can tell you, it takes a lot of deep thinking for you to respond to those questions. But let me tell you, you see, once you complete answering those questions about who your avatar is, your marketing becomes so much easier. Selling becomes so much easier. Like, some people have a problem selling. You're not even trying to sell because you're using all of the information that you already have on who your ideal client is, and you're literally just speaking directly to them. You're having a conversation. You're not even selling. You're just having a conversation, and then they end up buying your product or your services because you know them so well. You are able to connect with them at a very, very deep level.
Absolutely.
All right. Any other questions in the chat before we go? I think we are literally at the 1 hour mark, guys. We are, I tell you, this was class. This was class. If you missed any of tonight's session, please make sure you go back and watch the replay. As a matter of fact, watch the replay of all of the sessions because they are equally amazing. All right. Not seeing any more questions coming in, guys. I want you to show some love to Sally Ann tonight. Type in the chat and let her know what has tonight done for you. Was it worth the 1 hour sitting here with us, or did we just completely waste our time to be here? I don't think so, but just show her some love in the comments and let us know what is the one takeaway that you're gonna be moving with moving forward with from tonight's session. And with that said, Sally Ann,
make sure you go and follow me on social media, by the way.
Let me put the
comments
right
there
now
for the impact. It's always good. You can, if you drop the comments there, I'll see it. I made a post about coming on. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I'm pulling up her Instagram URL right now, and I'm going to paste it in the chat so you can directly click on it and just go and follow her. All right, so the link to follow Sally Ann is on Instagram. She's at Sally Ann Speaks. If you go in any of my stories or on my timeline right now, I tagged her in a couple of things, so you can just click it from there or just click right here in the chat. I'm also going to be leaving that information in the description of the video. So if you're watching the replay, you can always connect with Sally Ann as well. Sally Ann, thank you so very much for tonight. It was an hour well spent. And like I said, you guys are going to have to figure out how you're going to pay Sally for this 1 hour session. All right? Figure it out. because it was that good. It was that good. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow night. We have our planning session. I'm having a 2021 planning party. That's tomorrow night, Saturday, November 28th. And we are going to be planning 2021. Like Sally Ann talked about setting that goal. We're going to be setting those goals and really creating a strategic plan as to how we are going to execute everything that we want to accomplish for next year. So make sure you sign up for that. Connect with me on Instagram or Facebook to get the link to that. It's at bossteacheracademy.com. All right, guys. So thank you again for tonight, Sally.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. No, I have to big up these people in the chat. See that? All right. So Skeeter is said this was indeed a great session. She's taking away so much. Patricia is saying great words of wisdom and inspiration. Thank you, Sally Ann. Anya is saying thank you with a whole heap of ellipses behind it. So worth it. You should have charged. You would have paid. Yeah, we're going to do that next time. And so everybody in the comments is just grateful. That's the word. Grateful.
Grateful. Thank you for having me.
All right, guys. So make sure that you can still share the replay of this video with all of your teacher friends. You just copy the link that is at the top of your screen or hit the share button. Once the video is done processing, it will be live on the Boss Teacher YouTube channel. You can always go there and watch it and share as well. Because I know if you find value, there is somebody in your circle that is going to be finding value from this as well. So thank you guys for checking in the comments. Thank you for sticking with us tonight all the way till the end. Sarah says her lesson is your gift will make room for you. Donna is saying she loves the part about competence builds confidence. Yes, it does. It does. Anya is saying that you are the boss.
I love you, Anya.
All right, good night, guys. I'm going to be turning on some music and just rocking it out for the rest of the night. See y'all tomorrow for the planning party.
All right, bye. What should I say?
You're still going in the chat, you know?
Or should I stay?
Anya loves you back. You're still going in the chat, Sally Ann.
What am I chat about, so?
Them a big you up. Hold on. Let me give you the link. Because we're still live, actually. Let me give you the link. All right. I just paste the link in the chat.
Okay.
Or should I send it on your phone? All right. I just send it both places. Have a great weekend, guys.